Hello, hello, and welcome to my thought on Sunday. Although today is Wednesday, one of these days I'll actually get it on Sunday, but today I wanted to talk to you about dancing. I am told that dancing serves two purposes. One is to advertise yourself to the opposite sex. And at my age, I'm guessing that my ad would not be noticed. However, that's one purpose. The other purpose is to intimidate your rivals. And since most of my rivals are dead, I really don't have to worry about that. But it is told that if you want to dance properly and you want to dance with these purposes in mind, that for men, you should move the top of your body because it shows strength. And for women, you should swivel your hips. Of course, at my age, if I swivel my hips, I will probably have to have one replaced. So that is not an option for me. What I was going to talk to you about is how dancing has changed. We danced with partners. We did not dance solo, except in the ballet and for performance. But when we danced with couples, and we danced with each other, and we touched each other, which was really exciting when you're 16. As a matter of fact, it's electric. Right now, I probably am so numb I wouldn't notice, but then it did. And we danced in a place, I'm from Toledo, Ohio, and we danced in a place called Centennial Terrace, which brought, believe it or not, all the big bands that you've read about from the 40s. Tommy Dorsey, Mitch Miller, Glenn Miller, Kay Kaiser, all of those bands, and I saw all of them, and I danced to their music at Centennial Terrace when I was 15, 16, and 17. We would bring a paper bag with a bottle of gin or vodka, because gin and tonics were very big then, and we would dance, and we would get plastered. And we loved it, but the style of dancing was very different in those days. We did not do ballroom dancing as other people do. We did not hold that way. We held hands. Now you have to remember that in the 40s, we did not have the pill. Men did not wear condoms. And there used to be a saying that says, "Who knows what evil lurks in the minds of men?" And it would be, "I know," which is somebody rocking a cradle. So we had to be very careful, young ladies, and what we would do is we protected our virginity as if it was gold, and we never gave it away until we had a wedding date, the china and the silver registered at the proper stores, and a commitment. An iron commitment, and then you could have our delectable little bodies. Lucky you. However, when we danced this way. We held hands and moved to the beat of the music. And if you listen to the music in the 40s and 50s, it's a very strong beat. And we would crash into each other. Now, when we crashed into each other, the men who were not able, well, they weren't men, they were boys, we didn't let them anywhere near us. They could sort of judge whether your body was worth exploring and whether it was worth a second date where maybe they'd have a better chance. And on the third date, that was the optimum thing where you got to kiss them. And many girls, I am told, never proper Lynn Ruth, but I am told that many girls did much more than kissing on the third date. But the third date was the entrance into intimacy. So we danced that way. We wore very bouffant dresses, and they were strapless. We also wore the little ribbon, the little velvet ribbon around your neck, with a little brooch. And there's a wonderful song around her neck. She wore a yellow ribbon, but we really did. We wore a yellow ribbon with the brooch, and we wore strapless dresses. And the strapless dresses were not like the low-cut blouses and tops that I see today, where you can actually see cleavage and you can see a little bit of rounded breast. No, ours covered the breast. They were like this, but they were strapless, and you had to keep them up. So you had to be well endowed. Those of you who are looking at me on a screen can't see it, but those of you who know me know I'm not well endowed. I never was well endowed, and now, of course, they're flapping around my knees. So this was a great problem for me. So we wore corset under our strapless dresses to give us a little cleavage and to make us look delectable and give us a 21-inch waist, because we all wanted a 21-inch waist. My waist is 33 on a good day, even then. So we would buy a corset to cram our bodies into the proper shape. It could destroy your ribs, but it was worth the pain because we needed to look good to trap somebody to support us for the rest of our lives. Women didn't work in those days, not middle-class women. Right? So the corset was called a Merry Widow. The Merry Widow had garters on it because we did not have pantyhose. And if you got it on right, it took two men with strong knees to get this thing hooked. But if you got it on right, it gave you a 21-inch waist and pulled all your body fat from your ankles up to your chest. And you got cleavage because you sort of rolled out of your strapless dress. It was really very provocative. Merry Widow, it was worth the price. However, it had garters, and you attached them to your stockings because we did not have pantyhose, as I said. However, I'm flat-chested, so when I would attach these garters to my hose, my regular stockings, the entire contraption would go all the way down to my knees, and I would walk like I had to go to the bathroom. So in order to avoid this embarrassing situation, I would stuff the corset with bath powder mitts because that would keep it from sliding down. I would stuff it with bath powder mitts. I, of course, was the Cinderella in my family, and I was lucky to have any bath powder at all. But my mother, who was a Jewish princess supreme, had the most expensive bath powder you could buy because she thought that was how upper-class women lived, which of course they did, and she was trying very hard to be one. So she had bath powder, Shalimar, Chanel No. 5, and Arpege. Those were the three fragrances that my mother used. And I would take these bath powder mitts, and I would take two of each, and I would shove them in under what was there, and I would get myself a nice little curve, and the Merry Widow would not fall down. However, as I said, the style of dancing was to hold your date's hand, move to the music, and crash into each other. So when we were moving to the music and we would crash into each other, little mushroom clouds of bath powder would erupt from my bodice, and all over. And my dates would say, "Gee, Lenny, you smell good," and I would say, "Oh, let's not talk about me. Let's talk about you and what you're going to do to earn a living." Because, as I said, middle class Jewish women, particularly, didn't work. We wanted to trap somebody to support us for the rest of our lives. Dancing has now changed, and of course, I still can't swivel my hips, or I should say I wouldn't dare swivel my hips. I can try, but I think there'd be a disaster on the way. But most people dance, they do the twist. That's actually what it's called, even though I don't think you people call it that anymore. But it's solo dancing, which I think is a shame. And I think that it's tragic that we're not able to enjoy that beautiful, asexual touching of the opposite sex, because it made you less afraid when things got hot and heavy, and it made you aware of your body, which I think is a wonderful thing. I am very, very sad about the pandemic, because the pandemic has kept us from human touch. And there is a lovely man named Rob Mayhew who comes over and he gives me a hug, and we do nothing else. He is married and attempting to have a baby with his lovely wife, certainly not with me. But it certainly gives me the feeling that I am a human being again and not just a picture on a screen, since I spend most of my time looking at Zoom. And if you read psychology books, you will find that they say that touch is a human right. I agree with that. But you try telling that to the UPS driver. He won't deliver your packages. And I want to thank you very much for joining me for my thought on Sunday, on Wednesday. I've been Lynn Ruth Miller. Don't forget, I have a book. It will make a wonderful, wonderful wonderful Christmas present. This is what it looks like. It's gotten all 5-star reviews. It is called Getting the Last Laugh. You can find it on your Amazon. It is on Kindle. but I wouldn't recommend getting it on Kindle because people have complained that the print is very small. But if you have good eyes, get it on Kindle. Otherwise, you can get it on Amazon. It is not that expensive. There it is, Getting the Last Laugh. And you will see Fuji, that's Fuji, an Irish dog, because I tried to make the whole thing international feeling. I'm from America, it's published in Britain, and this is an Irish dog. I'm doing my best. And thank you so much for joining me. I'll try to get the next one in on Sunday.